Hey guys, just got done mowing grass out here at the archery range, and I'm going to do a video about trail cameras. We're going to teach you about image quality, and we're going to teach you about durability and the best bang for your buck. So stay tuned. I promise you, if you watch this video, I will give you my honest opinion, and I will not steer you wrong. Okay, so anyways, today's market has been flooded with technology. Today's market is flooded with bows. You know, you've got your choice of bows, whatever you want to shoot, any gun, any caliber you want, you know, anything that you want. And they all come with a price. You know, some of them are cheap and some of them are expensive, you know. And I think that this is what kind of makes me mad. Not really mad, but, you know, I don't know, I can't explain it how I feel, but you know, every person out here, the average working American, we all have different lifestyles and we all have different paychecks, and you know, we're all on a different budget. And sometimes I think these companies forget about that, you know, and then some don't, you know. And you know, trail cameras is one of my pet peeves. You know, if I'm going to pay good money on a trail camera, then I want my money's worth, you know. So I'm going to give you three options that I think are the cheapest, and I think they're the most effective, you know, in certain opinions. You know, I think they're my most effective. And then I'm going to give you my advice on what to look for in a trail camera. You know, we're going to start off with one of the top trail cameras that I used when I first started buying trail cameras, and that is a Wild Game Innovation. Okay, I'm coming up to the camera, and I'm hoping you can see this. This is a Wild Game Innovation camera. Now, I'm going to give you the good, bad, and the ugly on this thing. The good, Wild Game, I got to hand it to you. You take great pictures. You do take great pictures in your cameras. Now, this is one of the earlier models that I had, you know, and one of the first ones that I had. But I will say, I was a Wild Game Nation critic, I guess, or whatever you could call it, fanboy, and I strayed away from them. I got away from them because they take great pictures, and they're fairly cheap, but when it comes to being cost and what I'm going to have in this camera, if I'm going to have $35 in this camera, or $49, but it's only going to last me a year or maybe 2 years, which I got about, this one's about five years, I don't know, maybe 4 years old, but I'm going to show you some of the effects that I've had on it, and you know, some of the bad things and the reason why I got away from a Wild Game. Okay, Wild Game Innovation, the number one thing they have is picture quality. Other than that, they're shit. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, because I don't know. You can get some of the higher end ones and they're probably good. But in my opinion, and my, you know, like I said, I'm going to keep this real with you guys. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, if there's something wrong, I'm going to tell you. But my opinion, this little latch right here, the way this works, I don't like it because it doesn't tighten up good enough. And over the years, it gets loose. I like a side panel, you know what I mean? And then also too, this battery situation, you can see right here how loose that is. And over the years, it draws moisture, and you can see how the moisture's got in there where my batteries are. And you know, I don't like this outside button because I think all the buttons should be internally, and that it should be strictly anything waterproof. You know, when you set these cameras out, man, you don't want to be in the area really. You're trying to be stealthy, and you don't want to create problems for yourself. I've had this camera get fogged up. It got waterproof. Now, granted, it is one of the older models, but here's my thing. I have bought some of the newer trail cameras, and when I bought them, I bought like 6 of them, took them out, and I had a couple problems. One wasn't taking pics, and after that, I mean, I was really pissed because, you know, you set a trail camera out there for a month, it's hard telling what's missing when you didn't get no pictures. The delay wasn't good on it, and so I can't remember what model it was that I bought, but it was about, let's say, 2 years ago that I bought it. And so I strictly just went away with wild game. And one of the big pet peeves is, it really pissed me off about no pictures, but the biggest thing that I hate in a trail camera is durability. I feel like wild game cameras, you know, I'm rough on my cameras. I leave them out there all year long and everything like that. And the durability of these cameras, I just don't feel like are durable compared to some of the other options that you can have. Now, you know, I'll get to a couple other reasons why I still wouldn't use wild game, because there's a better option than that. Now, I'm going to give you this little camera right here. This is a Tasco, and you know, I know everybody's been like, oh wow, Tasco, that's a piece of crap. But honestly, this camera has been a really good camera. I'm surprised. You know, I put this out and I thought that, you know, I bought this for $24 at Walmart, and this is built better than the wild game, I really believe. Better than that wild game and some of the other ones. Now, depending on what price you pay, you're going to get a better wild game, but I think for the money, $24, you know, this is better than that camera. One thing that I don't like about some of the wild games, and I think they kind of strictly went away from that, and I don't mean to keep giving wild game a bad name, I'm just telling you the things that I had. But like this camera that I just showed you all, it doesn't have infrared. So when it flashes, you know, my take is, and I just want infrared because, you know, I just feel like it's less chance of spooking a deer versus a bright light snapping in her face. I'm gonna give you the lowdowns of this. You know, I love this right here because it has this little eject button, and when you eject that, it comes out. That is genius, folks. I'm telling you, that's genius. And I'll tell you where I first experienced this at. It was in another camera. This camera has your setup, your on, and I had these batteries in there. I don't have a card in it right now. Your motion, you know, your setup. It's got a picture for, it's got an LED, you know, or not, a USB port here. I love the way the back is set up, because these mounting systems, when you mount that against a tree, it's going to be perfect, and I hope you guys can see that. It also has the way to where you can put your cables in there. I do love that. I wish the strap was a little bit better, but for 25 bucks, you're not going to get much better. The only thing that I will say that I wish this camera had is, I wish it had, see like right here how this is recessed, you know, it's not recessed on the outside. So when it's raining and a buck comes out or something, or you get some type of moisture, if there's one little dot right there, then you're going to get a blurry picture. That's the biggest pet peeve about this camera that I hate. But for 25 bucks, if you want to set this somewhere on a public land setup to where you might be afraid of somebody stealing your camera or something, you only got 25 bucks invested in it. And if you're on a budget, I mean, this camera's awesome. I really feel like the durability of this camera is just as good as my favorite camera of all time. I'm getting ready to show you that. And by the way, these are all the cameras that I have. I don't have any other brands. The other brand that I thought about getting was a Stealth Cam, because I saw it on Academy Sports for $39. And I'm all about $39. That's the most I'm paying for a camera. I am not going to go out and buy these $100 cameras, because I will say one thing here at the end. You know, well, I'll just say it now. Again, all the hype is created on this, you know, these outdoor products, just like minerals and trail cameras. Let me tell you something. There's a difference between this wild game taking better pictures than this thing taking better pictures. Now, they're both 8 megapixels, so why are they taking better pictures? I'll tell you why. It's the computer board that's inside of here. That's what I've pretty much figured out. You know, the computer, the imaging that is controlled by these cameras. The company themselves can control your images. You know, it's the megapixel is crazy and it's bullshit. You know, it's just nothing that is, I mean, That's why when you go buy a Bushnell or something else, that you're going to get a clearer picture, because there's control boards in these things, and you know, you may say that I'm wrong, but it's not really the megapixel, because you can pick up an 8 megapixel and 8 megapixel camera, and both of them are going to take different types of pictures. There's computer imaging, that is software, I guess what you'd call it, from the manufacturer that creates the clear picture. Okay, now here's what I will say about all megapixel. To me, megapixel doesn't mean anything. Okay, I guess it does mean something, but it's not a big priority on the top of my list. Okay, when I look at a camera, the number one priority that I am concerned with is durability. That's the number one priority, because I want to keep this thing out here all year long. And number two is waterproof. You know, now this camera, I gotta say, is completely waterproof. I've had this thing out all year long. It's got a gasket inside of here, and I never waterproofed this at all, or did anything. I just shut it, put my batteries in there, and I was done. Okay, now like I said, you do get a water spot right here, but you can put some Rain-X or something, or wipe that off with some waterproof stuff. And you know, like I said, 25 bucks, public land or something like that, or just on a budget, can't go wrong with this little camera. Does it take good pictures? Yes, it does take pretty good pictures. I mean, the nighttime pictures are not as, what I can say is defined maybe, as this other camera I'm about to show you. But for 25 bucks, I got the biggest buck on my farm last year on this picture. And here's the thing, I didn't need 30 megapixels to figure out that that buck was a shooter. I knew as soon as I saw the picture, damn, he's a shooter, he's a hit list buck. And that's what you have to determine for yourself. You know, are you going to buy into all the hype? You know, to me, like I said years ago, megapixels is a scam, you know, and they say that because it's a glitch to get you to buy. But to me, I can tell what a buck's going to be like. I can tell if he's a shooter. I can tell if he's going in, if he's worth going in by this Tasco, you know. Now, the big thing that what I would be concerned is durability. Okay, number two, waterproof, and thirdly, you know, you want to make sure that your camera is the motion detection in this is doing good. Now, I will say there's one downfall to this, but I would still take this over a Wild Game so far. The one thing that I will show you on this little $25 camera is that every one that I bought took great pictures, but there was one flaw. You know, I didn't have any problems with this camera at all. I was perfectly happy with it, perfectly happy with the engineering of this, but I don't understand how, like, it will take a picture, and the first picture, I have it on a 3 burst, so it'll take a picture and it'll be all of a sudden like it's got like a dark shade over it, and then all of a sudden it'll take another picture and it'll be perfectly clear, and then it'll take a next picture and it's got that dark shade again. I've seen reviews on this, nobody addressed it. I'm addressing it. I don't know if I just got a bad line of cameras, but I've took one back and it did the same thing, so I don't feel like that I got a bunch of cameras and I went to another store and all that. So I just feel like maybe it's just something maybe nobody's bringing up, or maybe I just did get a bad line of cameras or something. But I still used it and I still got great pictures off of it. I just had to avoid the dark shade. So anyways, Tasco, you know, it's also got this, you know, you can put your little stand in there. I mean, for 25 bucks, dude, you ain't going to get no better than that if you're on a budget and you just need some pictures. You know, I'm telling you, this is the way to go, okay? So, that brings me to my third and final camera. And I know this review is probably biased because I'm not really bringing up a lot of cameras and I'm not really giving everybody a fair chance, but I don't have millions of dollars to go out and blow on cameras or anything like that. And I'm just giving you my advice, and you can take my advice and my input and my opinion and take it out there and find the camera for you. Now, the camera of my choice, the number one camera, the number one durability camera, the number one camera that I've used out of all, I've tried a lot. I've had coverts, I've bought a lot of cameras and took them back. I've had Spy Points. You know, I just couldn't justify some of the prices on those cameras, you know. And these are my top favorites, you know. That one, when it gets destroyed, my wild game, I'll throw it in the trash and I'll just go Tasco and I'll go Moultrie. And that's what I'm going to show you here, Moultrie. I don't understand what's going on with the Tasco and the Moultrie, but I want to show you one thing right here. I don't know if Moultrie bought out Tasco or something, but $69 for this camera. It's one of the best cameras I've ever had. Picture quality, I mean, absolutely stunning. You know, nighttime are pretty cool. They're pretty defined. You know, when it comes to having a camera that is going to take a great picture, this right here is amazing. And this is the A20. It's one of the older ones, but I mean, I'm still telling you, I've had this camera for 3 years. I have about 6 of them. I've kept them out in the rain, the snow, the sleet, and waterproof. Never had a problem with them. They took great pictures. I have 100% faith in this camera when I put it out that it is going to do what it needs to do. And so I love this camera. You know, it's made by Moultrie. You know, it's got your display right here. You know, you've got your settings right here. You got your little screen right there. And it also has the eject button, which I love. I love the way this thing ejects. And it is the same way with the Tasco. You know, I'm going to open both of these up and you can kind of look at them, and I can tell you that they're pretty much both the same kind of, you know. They kind of like, if you notice, like the buttons are kind of the same. The screen's kind of the same. The eject button is kind of the same. And also, first thing that I noticed, which is my favorite thing on the camera, because when you set your camera up, you can also put a stick behind it to create the great angle. These brackets on the back are exactly the same. So that's why I love both these cameras, because when I set this up on a level tree or an unlevel tree, it makes mounting really easy. So like I said, this Moultrie is A20. I love the fact that it's recessed right here and that, you know, the lighting on it is perfect. I love the way this is designed, because I've opened this up 1,000 times and it's never broke on me. You know, I feel like this thing is really made, really durable. I love these cameras. I mean, they're just awesome. They take great pictures. It's also got a USB port right here, and it's got this right here, this little thing right there, and I think that's for you can put a solar powered you know, station on there, so you can have rechargeable batteries and all that. But anyways, that's the down low on, you know, my take on cameras. Now, I'll go over this again, and I'll tell you, when you're buying your camera, what you should look for: durability, waterproof, and what kind of delayed reaction does it have on there, trigger speed, and, you know, then last but not least, what kind of pictures are you getting out of it, what kind of image quality does it have. Misread the BS on the megapixel, because in my opinion it's all BS. It's just a selling point, a hype to try to get you to buy their cameras. You know, you can buy this anywhere, Walmart, this Tasco, that's the big seller, and then you can buy Moultrie at pretty much any sporting goods store out there. And you can also buy Wild Game. If you want a Wild Game, go ahead and try it, all for you. Wild Game, you know, that's it. But in my opinion, you're gonna get better durability out of these two cameras, and they're fairly cheap, $69, $24. You know, durability, waterproof, all of that for a good picture of a big old buck. And another thing I will say is I like about the Moultrie is, you know, the Tasco has military time, the Moultrie has, you know, just regular clock time. So that's the thing too. You know, sometimes when you go down to the lower cameras, they do military time for whatever reason. I don't know. I guess it's just to make you get it, you know, for all the dumb idiots out there that don't know how to tell military time, I guess, you know. But anyways, that is everything that I can say about a camera, and that's all I can say. You know, like I said, durability, waterproof, I can't stress that enough. And, you know, you'll find what you like. But for me, if you're on a budget or you just want a good camera, Moultrie and Tasco is one of the best, you know, that I mean, I really feel like that Tasco does a great job for what it is, $25. And I hope you guys are enjoying the outdoors. Hope you guys are enjoying the I'm getting ready to put up my trail cameras. That's why I made this video. So anyways, it's July the 1st, 2018. And I hope you guys are having a great day. We'll talk to you later. Donnie Russell, Outdoor Epidemic. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.